Hey friends, Sarah here from Grace in My Space. Today we are going flea marketing. That's not how you say that. One of the things that I've always asked is, where do you get your vintage decor? Where can I find that wood bowl? Where'd you get your coffee table? And every single time I have to say, I am so sorry, I have no source for you. It was thrifted, DIY'd, bought from a flea market, bought from an antique store, and then the subsequent questions become, well, where can I find this? Where are your good sources? How do I know what to look for? And so today, we're gonna go to a local flea market. Actually, it's more like an antique show. It's a very large fair. And I'm gonna show you what you can look out for and then how you can style it back in your home. Flea markets are so fun to explore. There are so many unique things, finds that you will not find in any department store. There's so much history and story behind the pieces, and it's just really fun to go on that kind of a treasure hunt. I really like to look for things like vintage stools that I can repurpose into side tables or a plant stand. And you might even find some really weird things too. One of the things that I collect the most are wood bowls, pottery, kitchenware. It's very easy to take vintage pieces and just simply use them for their intended purpose or repurpose them as decor. I use wood bowls in simple stacks or filled with some special collections, and they're just very beautiful to look at with that history behind them. The next thing I always look for is crocks or pottery, any kind of character piece, vintage furniture, and it's really easy to bring it home, use the pottery as decor, use the vintage furniture to hold it all. You can create some amazing DIYs out of vintage furniture, just like my black cabinet in my living room. It houses all of my favorite pottery and some of my wood bowls that I just repurposed right into decor. Pottery is so simple to introduce. The next thing I look for are vintage baskets. There's so much history and character in each different style. You can repurpose them for blanket or pillow storage, any kind of storage really, even for toys. I always look through the smalls as well. Make sure and keep your eye out for little pieces that are handmade that will add a little bit of interest to your decor. I also look for textiles and rugs. There's so many beautiful pieces that have a story to tell. And you can use them for their intended purpose, or you can change it up and think outside the box like I've done with some of my small vintage rugs that I use on tabletops as a pop of color. Vintage artwork is my #1 most hunted for treasure, but very, very rarely do I buy them. The reason for that is most of the time they are well out of my price range, but just wait and see what I'm going to do with today's flea market find. Every now and then I do snag some really beautiful pieces of artwork from flea markets that are an affordable price, and this is how I display them. I also look for just unique pieces that are kind of architectural to add interest to a space, and anything that's really simple like ironstone bowls you can repurpose into decor, or you can use as they were intended. I love using this large ironstone bowl for my winter decor as just a really pretty centerpiece for the table. Crocks are another really great find from flea markets. They are everywhere. I use mine just to store some simple wood pieces for my fireplace. I'm always on the lookout for cutting boards as well, or any kind of board that could be repurposed to a charcuterie board or just a simple wall display. Ironstone is another really great flea market find. You can display it at your home, you can stack it, you can use it however you want, even for its intended purpose. It's a really beautiful collection. And think outside the box, because this vintage insulator is actually something that could be really cool to display plants in. Isn't that fun? I just really love to be able to show you guys some of the things that you will commonly find at a flea market and then how I would style them here at home. From today's shopping trip, I only came away with 2 purchases. Some vintage books. One of the things that I have been on the hunt for, that I was actually on the hunt for during my shopping trip at the antique show today, is vintage art. I really, really love sketches or charcoals or anything that is just really, it's soft. It's a softer version of artwork. But vintage art is actually difficult to come across that's an original. When it is an original, it's out of my budget. And so what I thought I would do is create my own. Look how pretty. This book is full of images just like this, as is this book. So what I'm gonna do is actually make my own vintage prints by cutting out the pages. And if you are a book lover and that is like sacrilege to you, I apologize, but I'm still gonna do it. This one's actually really cool. It has a really cool cover, and so I'll preserve the covers. I will leave the pages intact that I'm not using, but I am gonna cut out the pictures and I'm gonna show you how to create a really easy vintage artwork gallery wall for a very small amount of money. I paid $34 for these 2 books, and it's gonna create tons of art out of it. So this one was my favorite. We're gonna start here. Drawings of the masters, Flemish and Dutch drawings, 15th to 18th century. How cool is that? Like, look how cool that is. There we go. I have 17 prints now. Cost me $34. If I were to purchase 17 downloadable vintage art prints, they'd be about $2 each. That's $34. And then you have to print them like at an actual printer. For this size, it'd probably be like $1 to $2 per print. So it's another $17, etc. So this is a really affordable way to get this much art, even though it's not original. Who cares? Who cares if it's original? And we're gonna make a gallery wall out of it. Now, my first thought when we walked away from the flea market and I had these books and this idea in my head was, oh my gosh, it's gonna cost like $300 to frame these. That is not my plan, because I don't wanna spend $300, and it would cost significant amount because they're all odd sizes, and so it would require like custom mats for all of them if you wanted to make them look really polished. So instead, my first idea was to use washi tape, but I had none. So masking tape it is. You wanna see the simplest way to get these from here to there? Now there's gonna be a lot of standing and staring until I get it right. All right, now I have a question for you. How many people are completely driven nuts? Where's it at? By that guy. Look, I really liked that image, but it was the only one that was an odd shape. So I thought, let's stick it up top. It's starting to drive me a little crazy because everything else is so symmetrical. And I'm wondering who else it's doing the same for. But honestly, I just really think that that is something that is so personal and such a preference rather than a design rule that I'm just gonna leave it up. See what happens. And I'll probably take it down in a couple days. And that's the point of grace in my space, because we need to show ourselves grace in the process. It's not gonna be perfect the first time. We're probably gonna have to play with it a little bit, and that's okay, because who's it hurting by being a little wonky right now, besides maybe all of you who can't handle it at this very moment. I kind of like it for now. Ask me in a couple days. This is such a simple DIY. I'm using it for kind of a neutral sepia, black and white tone fall decor for now, but it could be done with anything. Any book that you find that has a similar style of artwork inside of it. You could do botanicals for spring or summer. You could do animals if you have a jungle theme in a kid's room. Anything really that you can imagine, you just have to find the right book. And a lot of times those can be vintage books like what I found, or you can buy brand new and cut out the images from a brand new book too. So I hope that this video was so helpful to you that you can head to your next local flea market or thrift sale or yard sale and look for things that you can incorporate into your home, get ideas for how to style them, and even look beyond what something actually is, like a book, and turn it into a wall of art. After sleeping on it for a night, I woke up and I couldn't handle the way it was. I played with it a little bit more, and I think that it's gonna continue to be played with, and I might even need to add a few in to make it really stand out the way that I want it to. But until I get it right, I'm just gonna enjoy the beautiful artwork as it is. Thanks for joining me today. Make sure and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time.